October had arrived, and in Proschwitz, opposite the towers and steeples of Meissen, the white Scheurebe grapes were being harvested. We wanted to be home some time ago, but decided it would be a shame to miss the grape harvest, after having watched the vines grow throughout the year. The wine growers of the Elbe Valley had given us food and lodging, and now it was time for them to reap their reward. Everything had begun in Dresden. There we joined the paddle steamer, which would take us down the Elbe. That must have been back in May, when the meadows still looked fresh and green. As the Elbe Valley narrowed and mountains seemed to approach us from the north, we knew that we had reached the town of Radebeul. There we left the wide river, continuing our journey on a narrow-gauge railway. We passed by the sloping vineyard terraces and were transported into the cool and shady glen known as the Lößnitzgrund. Trains have been steaming up these hills for over 120 years, bringing sun lovers and bathers to the countless lakes dotted around the upper end of the valley. Had summer already arrived? It was certainly possible. We had completely lost track of time. Moritzburg Castle is surrounded by water. The Wettiner family, one-time counts and kings of Saxony, used the castle as a base for hunting parties. However, don't be deceived. Moritzburg was a castle for both hunting and pleasure. Today one still finds the odd secluded pleasure palace nestling in the park grounds. We found ourselves once again in the Elbe Valley, back in the town of Radebeul. There was certainly no lack of palaces, and the wine was plentiful too. The stately home is called Wackerbarth's Repose. Following an active military career, Count Wackerbarth built this castle to spend his last years in peace and tranquility. We could well appreciate his choice of location. In the town below, the leaves were changing colour, while the locals celebrated the wine, the year, and not least, themselves. We had long returned to the ship and were once again travelling down the Elbe. Dresden, the capital of Saxony, had been the starting point of our journey. Now we were approaching the town that had first given birth to the Saxon kingdom, Meissen. More than 1,000 years ago, King Heinrich I built a castle here on a hill above the Elbe. The German king wanted to protect his land against marauders from the east. The castle grew to encompass first a town and then the county of Meissen, whilst a small chapel was the seat which later grew into a mighty cathedral to serve a new papal diocese. In the 11th century, the Wettiner family became the Counts of Meissen and, in 1423, electors of Saxony. Friedrich the Hot-Tempered was the first elector of a family which ruled continuously over Saxony until 1918. Friedrich now lies in the royal chapel of Meissen Cathedral, with later electors and kings interred around him. The grandsons of Friedrich, Ernst and Albrecht, built a new castle in Meissen. The building no longer served any military purpose, but was purely residential, underlining the status of its residents, which it certainly did in great style. All of Meissen's rulers have a place of honor here, even old King Heinrich, the original founder of the castle and town. When the two brothers later fell out, dividing Saxony up between them, the castle was left untouched. Only the name Albrechtsburg reveals that Ernst had now left the city in the hands of his brother. Now we continued our journey downstream. The Elbe River had to pass the wine-producing hills of Diesbach, before finally flowing into the great German plain. Saxony is the most northeasterly of all Germany's wine-growing regions. The climate here is almost continental. The nights are cold, with the days full of sunshine. This contrast in temperature, as well as the meters of fine soil which cover the underlying granite, help to give Saxon wines their special character. Now, in springtime, the grapes were still young, only beginning to form the heady mix of aromas for which they are so highly prized. Had spring really come round again? Or maybe it had never left. We weren't sure and decided to head back. We wanted to return to Meissen. Saxony's princes had long resided in Dresden when a young Prussian by the name of Böttger came to court, claiming he knew how to manufacture gold. Through a mixture of greed and clever calculation, Augustus the Strong, Elector of Saxony and King of Poland, made a wise decision. He ordered that Böttger work together with an experienced local scientist. However, this man, a certain Herr Tschirnhaus, was not looking for gold. Instead, he was trying to find the secret formula for porcelain, aptly known as white gold. After years of experimentation in their laboratories, Tschirnhaus and Böttger finally succeeded, in 1709, to produce fine porcelain. Saxony thus became the first European kingdom able to supply the 18th century's luxury-loving aristocrats with the so-called Chinese gold. Augustus the Strong founded a factory in Meissen to produce porcelain, a factory which, in the 21st century, is still producing some of the world's finest decorative and household porcelain. Its products bear witness throughout the world to Saxon skill and artistry. As the sun slowly disappeared, we went for a stroll, as we had every evening in the Elbe Valley. We settled down in one of the countless wine taverns and tried to make time stand still.